Make knowledge your power and explore these easy learning sessions for better understanding. Practice for more accuracy and effectiveness. So, let's move ahead. jQuery is a library that helps web designers to use JavaScript for building a website. Here in this session, you will study about jQuery in detail. The session begins with the definition of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and jQuery. Then, it gives a comparative chart of jQuery and JavaScript. Next, you will learn about the basic features of jQuery such as animation, appearance modification, information retrieval without refreshing a web page, and many more. After this, you learn how to start using jQuery and the detailed steps of downloading jQuery from its official website. It then explains how to use jQuery by referencing it to each web page. Then, you learn how to inspect the jQuery codes. Finally, the session sums up with terms such as jQuery CDN and its uses in your website. Now that you know what jQuery is, use it to build a website with ease using JavaScript codes.
HTML is a markup language for web pages. It gives a structure to your web pages, or in simple terms, it is a layout which tells the browser how to display the content. CSS, or the cascading style sheet, is to format the web page, that is, change the look and feel of a web page. For example, the heading should be in blue color, the font should be Times New Roman. So basically, it deals with the presentation of the web page. JavaScript is used to add behavior to the web page. For example, what should happen when a user clicks a button, or we can add some code for mouse clicks, mouse overs, and any other events on the web page. This interaction is added via JavaScript. While adding this interactivity to the web page, JavaScript has some challenges. First is each browser behaves differently. Thus, the experience the user gets across multiple browsers is not consistent or not same. To deal with this cross-browser compatibility, the developers have to write more lines of code as a workaround. jQuery comes as a solution to address this JavaScript limitation. jQuery knows each browser. Thus, the need to write browser-specific code is eliminated. Now let us understand the similarities and differences between JavaScript and jQuery. JavaScript is a scripting or programming language, whereas jQuery is a JavaScript library. JavaScript is internally written using C language. It is an interpreted language, while jQuery is derived using JavaScript. jQuery code is comparatively simple to write, while JavaScript code can become verbose. JavaScript can be used as both client-side and server-side language, while jQuery is usually used only on the client side. The JavaScript code can be written between the script tag in an HTML file. It doesn't need any special library to run this code. jQuery code can also be written between the script tag in an HTML file. However, it needs a jQuery library file to run inside the script tag. JavaScript does not need any special symbols, while jQuery uses a special selector. jQuery is defined as fast, simple, and feature-rich JavaScript library. It is a free and open source software. It makes things like HTML document, traversal, and manipulation easy. Event handling and animation can also be added using jQuery to a web page. Ajax can be used in much simpler way. jQuery is cross-browser compatible. jQuery is fast to write. With JavaScript, you must write the script all by yourself. However, with jQuery, you do not need to write lot of scripting. jQuery, in terms of speed, is faster on modern browsers and modern computers. JavaScript runs drastically slower on older browsers and machines. jQuery code is less to write. Thus, in jQuery we say write less and do more. jQuery has multiple features such as HTML and DOM manipulation, CSS manipulation, HTML event methods, effects and animation, Ajax and other utilities. This sample shows how JavaScript code is more lines of code while jQuery is a simple code. Both the functions essentially do the similar things, but with jQuery, writing the code is much simplified. Now let us see what are the core features of jQuery. The first feature is of accessing elements. There is a robust selector mechanism available in jQuery. It makes easy to select a piece of document that needs to be inspected or manipulated. The second feature is modifying appearance. Using jQuery, you can change individual class or style properties applied to a part of the document even after the page is rendered. With jQuery, altering content is easy. You can alter content such as list can be reordered, text can be changed using a simple API. jQuery supports lot of animated methods such as fade in and fade out. Retrieving information without page refresh is possible using jQuery. This is called Ajax. Ajax stands for Asynchronous Java and XML. Now we will see how to access jQuery in your code. There are two different ways of using jQuery. The first is the local installation. In this, you can download the jQuery library on your local machine and include it in your HTML code. The second way is using a content delivery network, also called as CDN based version. You can include jQuery library into your HTML code directly from CDN like Google. jQuery can be downloaded using the jQuery website as https://jQuery.com. You can see a download jQuery option over here to download it. Whichever is the latest version is available on the website. When you click on the download option on the jQuery website, these are the different options that you would see. This page changes as the latest and new versions of jQuery are available. The above image shows the latest version when the course is developed. Usually, there is a choice between production version and the development version. For learning, we recommend the development version. Now let us see how to use the local installation. Once the jQuery JavaScript file is downloaded, you will have to reference it on your pages using the script HTML tag. The easiest way is to place the downloaded jQuery.js file in the same directory as the page from where you wish to use it. Then reference it in the head section of the HTML document. This is a sample code using the HTML. As you can see over here, in the script tag, we have shown the source as js/jQuery.js. This refers that jQuery.js is kept in a folder called js on your local drive. The script tag below this is the jQuery code, which is embedded under the head tag of HTML. Here, as you can see, I have a JS folder in which the jQuery.js file is kept. JS refers to a JavaScript file. This is a sample code using the jQuery local installation. As you can see, the code gets executed and you see that Hello World is displayed due to HTML as well as due to jQuery. Now we will see how to inspect the jQuery code. Right click on your browser and click on Inspect. You would see all the HTML elements loaded in the element section. If you go to Sources, it will show you the folder structure from where the file got loaded. Here you can see that the jQuery.js file is loaded along with the HTML code. This ensures that the jQuery is loaded correctly on your browser. Now we will see how to debug and how to check if the jQuery code is loaded correctly or not. As you can see, I have opened the same file in my browser. However, it is showing Hello World is displayed only due to HTML. The Hello World displayed using jQuery is missing. Thus, to debug it, right-click on the browser and inspect the element. If you go to console, you will find that there is an error message which says failed to load resources and the jQuery.js file is found missing. In the HTML code, we have referenced that there is a jQuery.js file. However, because the browser could not find it, the error is thrown. As we have seen earlier, that if the browser doesn't find the jQuery.js file, then the jQuery code that the developer has written cannot be run. Thus, to avoid any such mishaps, it is recommended to use the jQuery CDN. As you can see here in the code, the script tag refers to the source of the CDN. This is a Google CDN which is found on the link which is shown on the slide. Because this CDN is always available, whatever the code the developer has written would run. This is the output of the jQuery code which is run using the CDN in the browser. With this, we complete the first module of jQuery. Thank you.
As a web developer, you might also have great knowledge on jQuery. What do you understand by jQuery?
jQuery is a fast and lightweight JavaScript library. The purpose of it is to make the process of using JavaScript on your website easier. The library contains HTML, DOM manipulation, CSS manipulation, AJAX, effects and animations, and utilities.
We are now going to begin with another session. We hope that you are understanding and gaining new skills every time. Web designers often use jQuery to easily build a website with JavaScript codes. Here in this session, you will learn about jQuery selectors, which help web designers to find, select, and use HTML elements for your web documents. The session begins with the definition of Document Object Model or DOM and proceeds with a sample DOM representation. It then explains the steps of accessing DOMs in jQuery using methods such as the .ready method. After this, it explains jQuery syntax and selectors such as the star selectors. Following this, it explains how to use star selectors with an example. Moving ahead, you learn about different selectors, element selectors, class selectors, and ID selectors with proper examples. Next, you learn about CSS selectors with proper examples. Finally, you learn about attribute selectors with proper examples. So, use jQuery selectors to find the right HTML elements and create an attractive website using jQuery JavaScript codes.
Understanding and accessing DOM. Let us first understand what is DOM. In the earlier module, we said that jQuery can alter the specific content of an HTML file. The question is, how does jQuery get access to alter a specific content? The answer is using the DOM. DOM is a document object model. It is an application programming interface for web documents. It represents the page so that the program can change the document, structure, style, and the content. A web page is a document that either can be displayed in the browser window or it can be displayed as a HTML source. In both the cases, it is the same document, but the document object representation allows it to be manipulated. Let us see a sample DOM representation. This is a sample program written in HTML. The same program is represented in a DOM structure. Here, all the HTML tags are represented in a tree-like structure. The elements become the ancestor, the parent, siblings to each other. This is the HTML representation of the code in the browser. On the right hand side, if you see, the elements are represented in a tree-like structure. This is the DOM representation of the HTML web page. Once we have understood what is DOM, now let us see how to access DOM in jQuery. jQuery provides a document.ready event to access the DOM. This method runs when the DOM is ready. JavaScript code runs as soon as it is loaded into the browser. If this happens before the DOM is fully loaded, unexpected issues or unpredictable behavior can result. jQuery's ready method waits until the DOM is fully rendered. What we mean by DOM is ready is that all the elements are found but not necessarily all the content is loaded. Now let us take a look at the ready method. The ready method offers a way to run JavaScript code as soon as the pages in the DOM is ready. It is a good practice to wait for the document to be fully loaded and ready before working with it. This also allows to have your JavaScript code before the body of your document in the head section. This is the syntax of the ready method. The jQuery code is put between the $function. jQuery allows different ways to attach a function that will run when the DOM is ready. There are different ways of writing the ready method. You can see all these methods are valid and would still work. However, the function is the recommended way of writing the ready method. Now let us try and understand the Hello World program that we have seen in the first module. This is a HTML file in which the HTML code to display Hello World is written. As we can see in the HTML head tag, we have a script tag which refers to the local jQuery installation. Next, we have written a script tag where our jQuery code is written. This is a ready function within which we have written a code to display the Hello World. This is a jQuery code which says wherever the system finds a ID called as flag and HTML text Hello World displayed due to jQuery should be displayed. As you can see, in HTML body tag we have a div with the ID as flags. So through jQuery we are inserting a Hello World text within this div tag. Now let's discuss jQuery syntax and selectors. The jQuery syntax is used for selecting HTML elements and for performing some action on it. The $sign is an identifier to the jQuery function. Instead of writing jQuery, we simply write $. $$ is same as jQuery function. It gives a shorter identifier as $$ reduces time for writing larger syntax. The $$ has some selector in it which identifies the HTML element to be selected. The action will perform the necessary action on the selected element. For example, in this case, the element with ID div test1 is selected and the text Hello World is displayed within it. Now let us see what are selectors. Selectors are used to select one or more HTML element using jQuery. Once the element is selected, it allows to manipulate the HTML element the way we want. HTML elements can be selected on parameters such as their name, classes, IDs, types, attributes, attribute values, and so on. All the selectors are selected using the special sign, that is the $sign. The star selector. The star selector selects all the elements in the document including HTML, body, and head. If the star selector is used together with another element, then it selects all the child elements within that element. This selector is also called as universal selector. Let us see an example of how star selector is used. Here we have some HTML code written in the ready function. We are using this star selector, on which we are using a CSS method. This CSS method is going to change the background color of the page to light green. Let us see how this HTML code looks in the browser. As you can see, the whole page has the background color as light green. This is because in the code we have used the star selector, thus all the HTML elements are selected and the CSS property is applied on it. Now let us see different selectors. There are three different types of HTML selectors. These are element selectors, class selectors, and ID selectors. The element selector selects all the elements based on the element name. For example, $p.hide would hide all the paragraph elements. The jQuery class selector finds elements with a specific class. To find elements with a specific class, write a period character followed by the name of the class. For example, $.mylist.hide would hide all the elements with the class which is set as mylist. The jQuery ID selector uses the hash sign to find a specific HTML element. An ID should be unique within a page, so that using the hash ID selector, you would want to find a single unique element. As seen in the example here, the $#test would select the HTML element with the ID as text and hide that particular HTML element. Now let us see and sample. Here in the jQuery script, we have used the selector as button tag. Whenever the button is clicked, the header h1 would be hidden. This is a sample of an element selector. In this, the jQuery code is written in such a way that whenever the button element is clicked, the header h1 would be hidden. This is the browser output of the HTML code for element selector. This is the button. When the user clicks on this button, the heading is hidden. Now let us see an example of class selector. Here we have HTML code which has two divs with two different classes. There is a button which when clicked should hide the first list. We have written code for a button click. When the button is clicked, we have said .firstList. The dot indicates that find a class with the name firstList, and the hide method will hide that particular list. This is the HTML page when opened in browser. These are the two lists that are shown to the user. When the user clicks the hide first list button, the first list is hidden. This is a sample of ID selector. Here we have the same list, but for the tag ordered list, the ID list1 is given. Through the JavaScript code, on the click of the button hash list1. Hash list1 refers to the ID with the name list1. When the list is found, the hide function would hide that particular list. Let us see the output of the ID selector HTML code. Here we have two lists. When the user clicks on the button hide first list, the list is hidden. As the ID selector was given on the OL tag, only the ordered list is hidden, keeping the title of the list intact. Now let us talk about CSS selectors. The jQuery library supports nearly all selectors in CSS specifications. Thus, developers can enhance their websites without worrying about the browser and their versions, as long as the browsers have JavaScript enabled. All the modern browsers are JavaScript enabled. Most of the jQuery CSS methods do not modify the content of jQuery object. They are used to apply CSS properties on the DOM element. Now let us see different CSS selector methods. The commonly used CSS selector methods are .css, add class, remove class, and has class method. The CSS method is used to set CSS properties to the matched element, ID, or class. The add class method adds the specified classes to each element in the set of matched elements. One or more space-separated classes to be added to the class attribute of each matched element. The remove class method removes a single class, multiple classes, or all the classes from each element in the set of matched elements. More than one class may be removed at a time, separated by a space from the set of matched elements. The has class method determines whether any of the matched elements are assigned to the given class. Let us see a sample code to demonstrate the add class functionality. Here we have an HTML code with a div ID as container. Within that we have a h3 tag which indicates the header or the title of the list. Below the header there is an unordered list with the ID as list1 and few list elements. Similarly, there is another list which depicts the list of flowers and the title is given through the header h3 tag. Below that there is an unordered list with different li elements with the names of the flowers. We have certain CSS styles defined within the style tag. The h3 tag is set with the margin as 8 pixels and font size as 16 pixels. For the class selected, the color blue is applied, and for the class highlighted, the background yellow is applied. The jQuery script is written in such a way that for h3 tag we want to add a class called as selected, and for all the list elements we want to add the class as highlighted. Let us see how the output of this code looks like. To the h3 tag, which was the title of the list, the selected class is applied, thus the list is displayed in blue color. To all the li elements, the background yellow was applied, thus all the list elements come with the yellow background. Now let us discuss what are attribute selectors. The attribute selector allows us to select an element from the HTML page based on the attribute name. To the jQuery function, if we pass the attribute name as its selector, then it is called a jQuery attribute selector. The syntax is as given below. Let us see few examples of the attribute selector. This is a selector which will select all the elements with the attribute name. The second selector will select all the input elements which have the attribute name. The third selector will select all the elements having the attribute name as first name, while the last selector will select all the input elements having attribute name with the value as first name. While using attribute selectors, we have to use the single quotes and double quotes in the correct fashion, otherwise the attribute doesn't get selected as expected. Let us see a demo of attribute selector. In this demo, we have a form which has 3 input elements. 2 are the text boxes for first name and last name, and the third input element for the user to enter password. In the jQuery code, we are using an attribute selector. Wherever the name keyword is found, a CSS method is applied to highlight the border with 2 pixels and in black color. This is the output of the code that we have seen. As you can see, only the first 2 text boxes have a border in black color, whereas the password field does not have a border in black color. Thus, the attribute selector selected only the element with the attribute as name. This is a second example of attribute selector. The HTML form has not changed, but through jQuery, we are targeting those input elements which have attribute as input and a keyword and a property as type. To these elements, we are applying a CSS with border of 2 pixels in black color. This is the browser output of the HTML code that we had seen. Now, since we have used input element, all the input elements with the type property are selected, and a CSS border of black color is applied to all these elements. This is a similar sample of attribute selector. What has changed in this is that there are 2 input elements, the name which has the property as required and the password also as required. Through jQuery, we are targeting those input elements that have the attribute property as required. To such elements, we are applying a border of 2 pixels with the color as red. This is the browser output of the HTML code. Here, only the first name and the password field are seen with the red colored border, because only those elements are selected using the attribute selector property. With this, we complete the jQuery module on selectors. Thank you.
We prefer using the jQuery library here. Do you know the benefits of having the jQuery library?
Yes, jQuery takes up a lot of common tasks to accomplish programming, like coding. It otherwise may require a web developer more time to enter lines. It simplifies the complicated codes from JavaScript like DOM and AJAX manipulation.
Hope you are enjoying your journey of learning. Let's start a new session now. jQuery, as we know, is a useful JavaScript library that helps you to build a website easily. This session begins with the details of jQuery events and their examples. Next, it gives a detailed list of different jQuery events such as keyboard events, mouse events, and more. It then explains mouse events using demo steps and gives a detailed description of keyboard events. After this, it gives the detailed steps of the key press events and explains form events in detail. Then it gives a list of different form events such as blur, focus, select, and more. Moving forward, you learn about event handling or listening, event object, event handler, this and $sign keywords. Following this, you learn how to use an HTML form in jQuery and the event binding and unbinding process in detail. Finally, it ends with the details of event handler properties. Therefore, use jQuery and its elements to customize your website with selective HTML elements.
jQuery events. jQuery events are the actions that can be detected by your web application. These methods are used to register actions to take effect and further manipulate those actions. Some of the examples of events that can take place on a web page are a mouse click, a HTML form for submission, a web page loading, a keystroke on a keyboard, or even the scrolling of a web page is considered as an event. These events can be categorized as below: mouse events, keyboard events, form events, and document events. The mouse events are click, DBL click is a double click event, hover, mouse down, mouse up, mouse enter, and mouse leave. The keyboard events are key down, key press, and key up. Form events are blur, focus, change, select, and submit. Document events are ready and scroll. Now let us see a demo of mouse event. In this demo, there are HTML elements for paragraph and div. These are the style sheets applied for the paragraph and div elements. Through this style sheet, set the font size, font name, and the background color as brown. Through the jQuery code on document ready, when the P element is clicked, we want to change the background color to green. Similarly, when the div element is double clicked, the background color is set to orange. This keyword in the $function refers to the current element in both of these functions. Now, let us see the output of this program. This is the browser output of the mouse event HTML code. When you click on the paragraph element, the background color of this element changes to green. When you double click on the div element, the background color changes to orange. Now, let us see keyboard events. The following are the important keyboard events: key up, key press, and key down. Key up fires when the user releases a key on the keyboard. Key down is fired when the user presses a key on the keyboard. The key down is triggered Now, let us discuss what are attribute selectors. The attribute selector allows us to select an element from the HTML page based on the attribute name. To the jQuery function, if we pass the attribute name as its selector, then it is called a jQuery attribute selector. The syntax is as given below. Let us see few examples of the attribute selector. This is a selector which will select all the elements with the attribute name. The second selector will select all the input elements which have the attribute name. The third selector will select all the elements having the attribute name as first name, while the last selector will select all the input elements having attribute name with the value as first name. While using attribute selectors, we have to use the single quotes and double quotes in the correct fashion, otherwise the attribute doesn't get selected as expected. Let us see a demo of attribute selector. In this demo, we have a form which has 3 input elements. 2 are the text boxes for first name and last name, and the third input element for the user to enter password. In the jQuery code, we are using an attribute selector. Wherever the name keyword is found, a CSS method is applied to highlight the border with 2 pixels and in black color. This is the output of the code that we have seen. As you can see, only the first 2 text boxes have a border in black color, whereas the password field does not have a border in black color. Thus, the attribute selector selected only the element with the attribute as name. This is a second example of attribute selector. The HTML form has not changed, but through jQuery, we are targeting those input elements which have attribute as input and a keyword and a property as type. To these elements, we are applying a CSS with border of 2 pixels in black color. This is the browser output of the HTML code that we had seen. Now, since we have used input element, all the input elements with the type property are selected and a CSS border of black color is applied to all these elements. This is a similar sample of attribute selector. What has changed in this is that there are 2 input elements, the name which has the property as required and the password also as required. Through jQuery, we are targeting those input elements that have the attribute property as required. To such elements, we are applying a border of 2 pixels with the color as red. This is the browser output of the HTML code. Here, only the first name and the password field are seen with the red colored border, because only those elements are selected using the attribute selector property. With this, we complete the jQuery module on selectors. Thank you. jQuery events. jQuery events are the actions that can be detected by your web application. These methods are used to register actions to take effect and further manipulate those actions. Some of the examples of events that can take place on a web page are a mouse click, a HTML form for submission, a web page loading, a keystroke on a keyboard, or even the scrolling of a web page is considered as an event. These events can be categorized as below: mouse events, keyboard events, form events, and document events. The mouse events are click. DBL click is a double click event. Hover, mouse down, mouse up, mouse enter, and mouse leave. The keyboard events are key down, key press, and key up. Form events are blur, focus, change, select, and submit. Document events are ready and scroll. Now let us see a demo of mouse event. In this demo, there are HTML elements for paragraph and div. These are the style sheets applied for the paragraph and div elements. Through this style sheet, set the font size, font name, and the background color as brown. Through the jQuery code on document ready, when the P element is clicked, we want to change the background color to green. Similarly, when the div element is double clicked, the background color is set to orange. This keyword in the $function refers to the current element in both of these functions. Now, let us see the output of this program. This is the browser output of the mouse event HTML code. When you click on the paragraph element, the background color of this element changes to green. When you double click on the div element, the background color changes to orange. Now, let us see keyboard events. The following are the important keyboard events: key up, key press, and key down. Key up fires when the user releases a key on the keyboard. Key down is fired when the user presses a key on the keyboard. The key down is triggered only once, while the key press is fired when the user presses a key on the keyboard, but it will keep triggering until the key is released. Now let us see the demo of key press event. In the div tag, we have an input element in which the user is expected to enter some text. Below that, there is a paragraph tag. The key press count would be displayed as soon as the text is entered. The default value of the key pressed is shown as 0 because as soon as the document loads, no key press event is triggered. Through the jQuery code, we write the script to count how many times the key is pressed. The counter value I is set to 0. The .text method will increase the count till the key press function runs. Thus, the total length of the string will be calculated and displayed. This is the HTML browser output of the key press event. This is the text box in which the user is supposed to enter some text. Let us start typing the text, and we would see that the number of key pressed count would be displayed over here. Initially, the count is set to 0. As you see, as I go on typing, the number of count increases. This completes the demo of key press event. Now, let us see different form events. A form event is fired when a form control receives or loses focus, or when the user modifies a form control value. Examples include typing a text in a text input, selecting any option in the select box, submitting the form, and so on. Let us see different form events. The first event is blur. This event occurs when the element loses focus. It can be generated via keyboard commands like tap or mouse click anywhere on the web page. The next event is focus. This event occurs when an element gains focus. It is generated by a mouse click or by navigating to it. This event is implicitly used to limited set of form elements such as input, select, links like ahref. The focus elements are usually highlighted in some way by the browsers. Let us discuss few more form events such as select. It occurs when a text is marked or selected in a text area or a text field. This event is limited to input type equal to text and text boxes. The next event is change. This event occurs when a value of an element is changed. It works only on form fields. This event is limited to the input elements, text area, and select elements. For select boxes, checkboxes, and radio buttons, this event is fired immediately when the user makes a selection with the mouse. The last form event that we want to discuss is submit. This event is sent to the element when the user attempts to submit a form. This event is attached to the form element. Forms can be submitted either by clicking on the submit button or pressing the enter button on the keyboard when the certain form elements have focus. As we have understood what are different events that occur on HTML elements, the next thing that we want to discuss is event handling or event listing. Actions are constantly occurring on a web page, but the developer is notified about them if they are listening to them. Listening for an event basically means you are waiting for the browser to tell you that a specific event has occurred, and then you will specify how the page should react. To specify to the browser what to do when the event occurs, developers provide a function also known as event handler. This function is executed whenever the event occurs. It specifies what action to take on the occurrence of the event. Now let us talk about event object and event handler. jQuery hides implementation differences among the browser by defining its own event object. When a jQuery event handler is invoked, it is always passed as a jQuery event object as its first argument. This object holds additional information about the event. The event object is guaranteed to be passed to the event handler. We have seen the usage of this keyword in a demo earlier. Now let us understand this in detail. This keyword is used to refer to the object it belongs to. The value that this stores is the current execution context of the program. Thus, when used inside a function, this value will change depending on how that function is defined, how it is invoked, and the default execution. This keyword used in the function becomes a jQuery object. Now we can use all the properties of jQuery on this method. Let us see a demo of HTML form. In this demo, a HTML form is created by using different elements such as input type is equal to text box, text area, select elements, and input type is equal to submit. Through the jQuery code, the event handlers are written on events such as focus, blur, change, select, and submit. Once each event is triggered, the user is shown a text on the browser as to which event is triggered. Once the event is changed, the text displayed is fade out. We are going to talk about the fade out function in the next module. But let us see how this program would be shown to the user on the browser. This is the demo of the form element. When the user clicks on the input element, the focus is triggered. When the user moves to the next element, the focus is blurred and the focus is triggered on the element in which the user has clicked. If the user changes the radio button value, the focus is triggered again on the radio button. Also, the change event is triggered. Similarly, for the checkboxes, the change and the focus is triggered. For the drop-down list, the focus is triggered and the change is triggered when the value is changed. When the user clicks on the submit event, the focus is triggered on the submit event and an alert is generated which says the form is submitted. Once we have understood how the events are triggered, now let us talk about event binding and unbinding. jQuery provides an on method to respond to any event on the selected elements. This is called event binding. The on method attaches one or more event handlers for the selected element. Let us try to understand the usage of on method through a demonstration. In this, we have used a simple div tag. Through the on method, multiple event handlers are used on the div. When the mouse enters, the background color is changed to light gray. When the mouse leaves, the background color is changed to light blue. When the div is clicked, the background color is changed to yellow. All these multiple events are attached on the div element using a single method as on. Let us see the demo of how this on method works. As the mouse enters, the background color is changed to green. As the mouse leaves the div, the color changes to blue. When the user clicks on the text, the background color changes to yellow. Thus, using a single div and on method, multiple events on the div element are attached. This completes the demo of on method. Now let us talk about event unbinding. Just as the on method is used to bind event handlers, we have the off method used to remove the event handlers that are attached using the on. The off method with no arguments removes all the handlers attached to the elements. Specific handlers can be removed by providing the combination of event names, selector, and handler functions. When multiple arguments are given, all of the arguments provided must match for the event handler to be removed. Let us see and demo to understand more about how the off method works. In this demo, we have two buttons for the user to click on and click off. An event handler is attached to both the buttons on click to say hello. But through the off method, the event handler from the second button is removed. Thus, when the user clicks on the button click off, the hello message is not seen because the off message would already remove the event handler attached to it. Let us see the browser output for the same. As we can see, there are two buttons, click on and click off. When the user clicks on the on button, the hello world alert is shown to the user. When the user clicks on off, nothing is displayed. This is because the off method has removed the event handler attached to it. Now, let us see what are different event object properties. jQuery passes an event object to every event handler function. This event object includes important properties for cross-browser. These properties are target. The target returns the element that triggered the event. The pagex and pagey property returns the mouse position relative to the left and right edge of the document respectively. The type returns the name of the event and the which property is used for the key and mouse event. This indicates the specific key or the button that was pressed. To understand how the event object properties work, we will see a sample demo code. In this demo, the user is asked to click anywhere on the page to know the coordinates where he has clicked. To display that through the jQuery code, event properties of page X and page Y. Here, EVT is the event object. Once we get the X and Y positions, then through the alert, we are going to display those coordinates to the user. Similarly, to know which target node the user has clicked, we are going to use the event.target.nodename as the property. Let us see how the HTML browser would look for the same. In this code, we are asking the user to click anywhere on the page to know the coordinates where the user has clicked. If I click on this particular spot, the X coordinate is shown as 444 and Y coordinate as shown as 129. Similarly, it shows that the target node name that the user has clicked is the body element. If the user changes the mouse position and clicks on a different location, you can see that the X coordinate and Y coordinate values changes. However, the target element is still the body element. This completes the demo of event object properties.
As a web developer, what do you understand by HTML events?
HTML events are things that occur to the HTML elements. Examples of these elements are if an HTML input field was changed, an HTML button was clicked, or an HTML web page has been uploaded.